Here we go.
You're tuning in to Will Love Listen. Now listen.
The iconic Susan Lucci. It's such a pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to talk to you. Thank you.
How is everything going preparing for the book launch?
Everything's really going strong and well, and I'm so happy to say that. Yes, Publishers Weekly actually just came out with the first review, and it's all really good.
Nice, nice.
Yes.
Congratulations. I was reading through the description and looking at the assets, and I'm really excited to read it myself.
Thank
Uh,
you.
and I was also very excited to interview you because my mother's always been a huge fan of Erica Kane.
Oh,
And
thank you.
because of that, I grew up watching All My Children.
That's wonderful for me to know. Thank you.
And
Thank your mom for me too.
yeah, she's such a huge fan. When I said, oh, I was going to be interviewing Susan Lucci this week, she was like all pumped and excited. I'm like, you need to
Oh,
go to the one of the signings.
that would be great. I'd love to meet her.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to encourage her to go. And I'll be at one of them as well.
Great.
So I want to dive in because your second memoir coming out, La Lucci, it will be released on February 3rd. And you're doing a bunch of appearances, including two in New Jersey, one at Bookends in Ridgewood, and one at Books and Greetings in Northvale. And this book really delves into your life after loss, reinvention, and it's really a strong story of resilience. And I think fans are going to appreciate that. Now, it's also your first memoir since 2011. So, your first memoir, All My Life, was released in 2011, the same year All My Children ended its run. And I know we're going to go into it in depth, but overall, how does this second memoir differ from the first?
That's a really good question. Thank you. 15 years ago, when I released my first memoir, as you said, it was called All My Life. And certainly in the most recent 15 years, I realized that was not all my life. And I had many more experiences. Um, Certainly, some of them of tremendous loss. And I just thought I would. In fact, the stories I'm telling in this book were just pouring out of me in the middle of the night. I keep pen and paper next to my side of the bed, and in the meantime, I had had quite a few experiences, and my friend, our friend, my husband's and my friend Nelson DeMille, the writer, was encouraging me to write a new memoir, write another memoir, and I, of course, if Nelson DeMille gives you that advice, you pay attention. And he was so wonderful and a national treasure as a writer. And so I did. And several other people from that industry were encouraging me to write another memoir. I didn't even know they knew my first memoir, but it was really encouraging. In any case, I wanted to. My voice too has evolved in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And I wanted to write it in my voice that I have now, which is much more candid. And Laura Morton, who wrote the book with me, also wrote with me the first memoir. And when I say wrote with me, everything is all of our conversations, and there are many over the course of right now. We worked on this book, La Lucci, for almost 2 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
so everything's recorded. She has my voice. And in the writing of the book, my voice is very much present there. One of the men in the industry who read the galley said to me at read the manuscript, said, "This is like sitting in a room with Susan and she's talking right to me." And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and that's what I hoped to accomplish. And Laura helps me to accomplish that, because I'm not somebody who just randomly decides to tell everybody my story or
Yeah.
what I've done or what I think. But she asked questions in such a way. And I thought, given the life experiences that I've had, particularly in the last few years, and also some much earlier ones, I just wanted people to know that we all as human beings go through many of the same things. And I didn't want people to feel alone. So I'm telling my stories and the choices that I've made along the way in the effort to find my resilience and to find my voice and to survive.
I think you're writing about subjects that many people can relate to, especially all the loss that you dealt with between the first book to now, both losing your husband and your mother. Um, Grief is not something that just goes away overnight. And sometimes it never really fully goes away. So, how did losing two of the closest people in your life affect you, both personally and professionally?
Well, um, I lost my mother the year before I lost my husband. There are still times, and I talk to my mother and I talk to my husband, in
Of
my
course.
in my mind and in my heart. But I certainly I felt like with my mother, I lost my mother at 104, and so
Wow.
certainly I had to be so grateful
Yeah.
to have had her in my life for so long. And she was very self-sufficient and very capable, and so it really was only in the last 2 or 3 years that she started not being quite herself. Her hearing was going, and she did not want to wear any hearing aids, even though we said, "Mom, nobody can see them. Even men with short haircuts, you can't see them anymore." She said, "No, no, people will think I'm old." So she didn't want to wear her hearing aids. And so part of, I think, what um, was affecting her too is there's a certain isolation that comes when you don't hear everything.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't quite herself. And I remember just thanking God that she was still able to remember. She remembered me. She remembered my husband. She remembered our children. She remembered everything. And that she just couldn't hear that well. But because she couldn't hear that well, we didn't have the same conversations that I had valued so much. I couldn't be screaming at her, and some of the things were very funny. I write about this in the book too. But I also thanked God that she was my mother, and also that He brought me along. I was losing my mother as I knew her over the last few years, kind of, sort of, but I still got to see her and visit her and be with her and spend time with her, and that was a treasure. Um, Losing my husband, I will tell you, I just felt like I had lost everything. I was I didn't even know what I do, that I was an actress. I mean, I don't think I even thought of it for a couple of months. I didn't, when I did think of it, I thought, do I really do that? No, I wanted to be an actress since I can remember.
Yeah.
And I thought there must have been something there. But I thought I probably would never go in front of a camera again
Really?
or step on a stage. I was devastated. I know we hear that word, but I have to say this is what devastation must feel like, must be. Um, so, I finally, after a little while, I had turned down many things that I had committed to, which was not me at all. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. But I finally, after a couple of months, I thought, I'm probably very lucky to have something that I used to love to do, meaning acting, to go to help me get through, to help me get up off the floor and take steps forward. And so indeed it did. The first thing I did was I had committed to doing celebrity autobiography with wonderful cast, including Mario Cantone and Eugene Hack, who is just a genius to have come up with this whole notion. And so I knew it was comedy. I had done it before. I loved the cast, and I thought it would be very good for me to go and do this.
Yeah.
And so I did, and I went on from there, and it was helping me. I also am very, very lucky to have such good friends who stayed, who were our friends, my husband's and mine. You're never sure if those friends are still going to remain yours, even though you've been very good friends.
That's true. Yeah.
But
I
I'm
think
very, yeah, some people just see you as part of a couple, and that's it. But I'm very, very lucky that his friends and our friends and my friends have all stayed with me.
oh, I'm
So
glad.
yeah,
I'm
they
glad. Because
helped me
like you said,
laugh.
you never know. Like I feel like divorce and death is when you really know if someone's gonna like stay with you or not.
Exactly. exactly. So I'm very lucky in that respect. And the book is full of a lot of love and a lot of gratitude. And I speak about my gratitude for God creating my husband at all, and then, you know, putting him into my life. I also had the opportunity to talk about my relationship with my mother. That's part of the book. My dreams that I was dreaming, and where I was dreaming my dreams, and how I was dreaming my dreams before I even met my husband.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to write about Helmut. You know, I've been interviewed many times over the years, and I had the public career. People knew me, but I wanted them to know about him too. Some of stories that were about him. Um, and there's humor in the book. There's some of the most frequently asked questions I answer, and a letter to my younger self.
Oh, I
And
like that.
yeah, so there's a lot of my relationship with Agnes Nixon, some correspondence. Yeah.
Yeah, which that kind of leads into my next question. So, and it sort of stems from what we were talking about, like friends that stayed with you after your husband's passing. So I heard like Hollywood could be very fickle. Who are your mentors and rocks within this industry?
Well, my husband was my rock in every possible way imaginable. Agnes was a rock for me. My team, my wonderful people I work with, my publicist and stylist, and my team. Uh, I feel really, really lucky to be surrounded by such good people who are so good at what they do. And also, I will tell you that at the outset of my career, right in the beginning, I said to myself, make sure you don't surround yourself with yes men because you can never learn anything that way.
Oh, that's good
You,
advice.
you
Yeah.
know, you can't grow, you don't learn.
Yeah.
And I really want to know the truth. So
Yeah.
I'm very lucky that way.
Oh, that's good. That's really good to hear. Um, and I feel like your story is gonna be very relatable to people because it's gonna go through sort of the process of grief and give a inside view into your relationship and also your life post All My Children, because you were on that show. You had a 4-decade run as Erica Kane, which is unheard of. And I feel like some people associate you with actually being that character.
Yes.
So this will be like a real inside view into you.
That's true. That's true. And certainly, there I write very candidly and tell very candidly, and there is some humor as well. Certainly, when I'm writing about the situation with my husband, I wrote at a very raw in raw. It was raw, obviously, and but there also is the journey back. There is the choice is made to get back.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like people could learn something, obviously.
I think there's a lot. What I think is that it's our common humanity,
Yeah.
and I think when a person tells their story, you feel connected, and I wanted people to feel connected. I wanted to let people in, uh, and so we feel connected, and that they understand that they're not alone. None of us is alone. All of us as human beings, we have certain experiences that we have in common. And if someone, I was saying to Laura as we were writing the book, Laura, no teachable moments, no bumper stickers here, not preaching from on high, nothing. Just
Yeah.
telling my stories, choices that I made, and the audience is way smart enough to take what they want to, from reading the book and the
Yeah,
stories.
absolutely. I like the way you went about it.
Oh, thank you. Good. I'm glad to hear you say that.
And your first memoir, like I said earlier, it came out in 2011, the same year the show ended. But obviously, after that, I'm sure you went through a bunch of different emotions, because you did play Erica Kane for 4 decades.
Yes.
So when the show ended, were you relieved? Did you feel like I could have a breather, or was it sad? Was it almost like a death because you played that character for so long. How did that feel afterwards once you had time to like kind of take it all in once the show was over?
Well, there were certain elements that, when you read about somebody talking about the seven stages of grief,
Yeah.
the disbelief, the denial, the anger, blah blah blah. I have not gone through anger with my husband's passing, I will say, but with the show being canceled and the way it was done, certainly there was some anger involved, not just from me or those of us who were, in the show, but the fans were so upset,
Yeah.
and their
Yeah.
passion then and their passion now, I have to say, but at that point, they shut down the whole computer system at ABC. And I remember Agnes telling me that there was a certain number that you would call and you'd hear this. So after a while, I thought, I want to call that number. Let me see what this is all about. Um,
Yeah.
and so I called, and what they at that time, you could have a menu. And so what they said is to register your unhappiness with all my children being canceled, press one. For all other ABC business, press. So it was really huge. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like that.
Yeah, of course. But that just goes to show you how loyal the fans are.
Oh, so loyal and so really so wonderful, their loyalty. And even now people want so much for the show to come back. They want a reboot. They want something. And I hope with the new book that it gives them something as human beings,
Yeah.
something to hold on to.
Oh no, it definitely will. Um, and having said that, you did say reboot. So if there was ever a reboot or even a reunion, would you be a part of it?
I'm certainly open to it. In fact, there really is something going on now. I know it's been
Oh,
talked about
nice.
for a couple of years,
Yeah.
but it really is something that is active. And so, my feeling always, what I did learn in the course of my career is how important it is to be in the right hands. And certainly with Agnes Nixon and Lorraine Broderick, our head writer, and the writers that they have writing the scripts, I was in the best of hands. And I will say the crew, the cast, it's a very collaborative medium. All of the business is collaborative. And so it's very important who you work with and whose hands you're in. So I'd love to know who's writing and what is the writing and what is the concept and what's the plan, all of those things.
Oh, that's great. Well, I feel like people are going to hear that and they're going to be very anxious to know what's in the works.
Oh, thank you. I'll let them know as soon as I can.
And I understand you also go into your miscarriage story.
Yes, yes, I do.
How are you able to discuss a little bit about that?
Sure. I go and I talk about it in the book, and when it happened, and I would be interviewed, I would mention this and so on, but no one really wanted to talk about it, I guess, because no, it was never talked about in the press. Nobody picked up on it, and in those days, probably it just wasn't something that people were aware could have such an emotional impact on a woman losing a baby and a man. My husband and I were, we were expecting a baby, and it's such a happy time. And then all of a sudden, the curtain came down, and it wasn't going to happen right then.
Yeah. And I feel like that has to be such a traumatic experience because you're all some people are afraid to attempt for a kid again after they have one miscarriage because you get your emotions so high and then everything gets torn down. And you sort of get PTSD and you don't want to even try to get pregnant again.
For fear
Um,
you would go through that
yes,
loss again.
yeah, for fear that it would repeat itself.
And yet there are women who try and try and try and try, and I really admire them so much,
Yeah.
for doing that. And they're often happy at the end of the
Successful.
trail,
Yeah, yeah.
most often. Didn't have a
And
baby in their arms.
yeah. Now, how did you get involved with the American Heart Association? Because I know you've done a lot of in-depth work with them.
I have. Um, let's see, in the fall of 2018, I had an event in my own heart. And I write about it in the book. There are a couple of chapters uh, devoted to this because, for a lot of reasons, I won't go into a lot of detail here, but I was very, very lucky. And I was told, had I not responded and called the doctor and gone to the hospital, I probably would have not woken up
Oh,
because
wow.
I thought if I had been home, I would have thought, oh, I just need to take a nap, a little bit, 15-minute power nap, have some water, and I'll be fine. And they told me, had I done that, I would not have woken up because being in the hospital then, I was avoiding the widowmaker. We found out that I had a 90% blockage in my main artery
Oh my God.
and a 75% blockage in the adjacent artery. And when I left the hospital, I had two stents put in that night, late at night. Um, when I left the hospital on the way home in the car with my husband, I said, I just cannot keep this incredible good luck. And I mean, I had great luck. I had two guardian angels, one on each shoulder, my dad and my mother's mother, my grandmother. Uh, and this happened in a boutique, and the boutique manager also happened to have a degree in nursing. I mean, what are the odds
What
of
are the
this?
odds? Yeah.
So they got me to the hospital quickly. However, so on my way home, I just said to my husband, I cannot keep my good luck to myself. I cannot do that. Um, so I called my publicist at the time and asked her if there was a way that I could get my message out now, that maybe some woman out there listening right now in modern times, hearing the story, because my symptoms were a woman's symptoms. They're different than a man's. Usually there's some different ones, and I had different ones. Um, Maybe it'll save just one woman's life. Uh, and so she was wonderful. And oh, within days, I was on every network, starting with Good Morning America and World News Tonight and the Today Show and CBS Morning, every single one of them, uh, being able to tell my story. And certainly, I could not give the details to the next person, but the umbrella to me was number one, put yourself on your to-do list, because as women, maybe men too, we don't. We just are doing so much. As women, we're taking care of our children. We're taking them to the pediatrician. Helping our husbands. We're their advocate. We have careers and homes, and we are not on that daily to-do list. And heart disease kills more women, 7 times more women than all cancers put together
Wow.
every year. So there's reason to listen. The
Yeah.
other thing is, I think as women, we always think, oh, it'll go away. Oh, it's nothing. And I was doing that too. And the other thing is that as women, and I felt this, oh, I can't call the doctor. He's such a respected doctor. He has patients who really need him. I can't bother him. And so I wanted to reassure women that yes, you can ask the doctor. Don't worry, you are not bothering him. He will be only too happy to tell you you're fine, or if not, he's going to treat you. And so put that out of your mind. Listen to your body. If it's not behaving in a way that's normal for you, take action. Call that doctor. And most importantly, put yourself on your to-do list. Even on the way to the emergency room, I was saying to myself, I can't do this. This is my day off. I have things to do. I don't
Yeah.
have time for this. And I would have had the widowmaker.
Wow. That is so scary. I mean, you're very fortunate, and I like that you use your story to educate others.
Yes, and that's one reason I wanted to put it in writing. I wanted it to be part of this book so that women could reference it, because I talk about the symptoms being different for a woman too. And what are those symptoms? Well, they're there for if you can see them and how to go forward.
What did it feel like that day? What, like
What
what did you
was I
feel like?
feeling?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, this was October. In the first week of October, my husband and I were at a restaurant waiting to be seated, and I started to feel this very slight, and I had never had any health issues, never. So I started to feel this very slight pressure in my chest, and I thought, oh, it'll go away. And by the time it's nothing, I thought it's nothing. By the time we got to the table, it had gone away. 2 weeks later, very similar circumstances, again being seated. I felt that same very light pressure, but at that time it was also radiating around to my back on my rib cage. And I thought the same thing. Oh, it's nothing. It'll go away. But I also thought, well, it's a little funny because I never felt this before. And it was on my rib cage. And I thought, well, maybe I have on a new bra. And I knew I didn't. I knew I didn't, but I was trying to find some reason for it. I
Yeah.
even, when I went home, I even checked, even though I knew I didn't, I knew what I had on. And sure enough, I knew what I had on and it wasn't new. But another week went by, and this is also part of my good luck that I was able to talk to myself for 2 or 3 weeks and say it's nothing, it's nothing. The third time I felt the pressure on my chest, I was at a boutique buying a birthday present for a good friend of mine, my trainer, as a matter of fact. And at that time, I felt an enormous pressure on my chest. And as the saleswoman took my present to go off and be wrapped, I sat down on a little bench in the boutique, and that's when the manager came up to me and asked me if I was okay. She had known me for many years. And I guess my body language, I don't know. I said to her, Marty, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to assess what it is. She asked me what it was. I told her that I felt like an elephant was pressing on my chest. I had heard that expression from a woman being interviewed on TV maybe 20 years before. I think I was at my parents' house watching TV with my dad. She wasn't a celebrity. I had no reason to remember this, but her words came into my head that a woman's symptoms are often different than a man's. And she had had the feeling of an elephant pressing on her chest when indeed she was having a heart attack.
Wow.
And so that's what I told this store manager, who was also a nurse, unbeknownst to me. And she said to me, Susan, my car's right outside. Why don't you come with me? I'll get you to St. Francis Hospital, which is the heart hospital on the island. It was only a mile away. That's another stroke of luck that I happened not to be home. I was there.
Yeah.
And I can get you there faster than an ambulance can get here. And I went with her, and you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to call 911, but she was right. It would be faster than an ambulance could even get there. And so, but I called my husband's doctor from the car. He said, "I'll meet you at the ER. Your symptoms are substantial." And then he did the testing and so on.
Wow. Wow. That's a scary story.
Hmm. But it can be instructive, and that's
Yes,
what I'm hoping.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thanks for going into that. Now, I know you're pressed for time, but I have to ask, you don't age like the rest of people. What is your
God
secret?
bless you.
What's your secret? Like, do you do some like peptide vitamin infusion? Is there like some like hair care, skincare routine? What
I
what do you
I
do?
I have a routine, and I will say I'm really disciplined. That's one thing I do. But otherwise, both my parents had really good skin. I'm going to say good genes and a good dermatologist. These are two good things because there's lots you can do now. But I
Yeah.
don't do anything special, just care. And I think of it day by day. Just take it a day at a time. Sunblock for sure, but a day at a time. So if you look good now, today, you're not going to age that much by tomorrow. So if you just take care of it day by day, your diet, your exercise, try to get fresh air, all of the really normal things. I do
Yeah.
use moisturizer, I use a serum, but it's all very gettable stuff. I don't get any special anything.
Oh, well, I can't wait to meet you. I'm gonna come to either the bookends or books and greetings event.
Wonderful. Great. I look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, I look so forward to meeting you. Thank you for joining me today. I can't wait for the book launch, and I'll definitely be at one of the events.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.